What's happening, good people? Julia Daniels, Reggie Wilson, hanging out with you here. We're doing something new for the 2025. Welcome to KARE 11 Sports Plus with Juju and myself. We're going to be talking all Minnesota sports all the time, every week for you, right here on KARE 11 Plus. And we got some good stuff today, Juju. We're talking Wolves, we're talking Gophers, we're talking Wild, Twins, maybe even a little Super Bowl matchup as well. You excited about this one?
I am, because it's that time of year where all the sports are happening at one time.
Yeah.
So it's like endless things to talk about constantly. So it makes our lives a little bit easier, I feel like. Besides maybe like June when you don't have anything going on except
so we'll talk to you in June. But right now, we'll kick things off with the Timberwolves. And Juju, right now, the Timberwolves, as it stands, I'm looking at the standings right now, they are 7. So right now, if the season ended today, they would be a play-in team. This is much different than what we saw last year. They continue to try to gel. You know, that Karl-Anthony Towns trade was a pretty seismic one for not only like the culture, but also the chemistry for this team. They're on a 3-game win streak right now, taking on Phoenix tonight. But what do you think about this Timberwolves team this season?
I've said it before, and I'll say it again. The season before last was when Rudy came in, and they were a bit of a clunker there too. They didn't have a lot of chemistry. It took them an entire season to get off on the right foot finally and get things going. It's hard to emulate also a season like what the Wolves had last year. But I will say, with such a huge trade happening so late, we're definitely seeing the repercussions of that right now. Yeah,
and so look, they did get the win over a depleted Hawks team on Monday night, but Chris Finch was not happy. A few expletives in the post game to the Timberwolves in the locker room and at the podium, but here's a clean version of what he was talking about.
And we've been trying to play better basketball, and at times I thought over the last few weeks we have done that. And, you know, guys in the second half, I don't know if they thought it was going to be easy. And then all the old bad habits creep back in. So
was that a sense of urgency that this team needs?
100%. Yeah.
So Finchie obviously wants to see some urgency from his team on a consistent basis. Anthony Edwards said, look, man, we've been playing good ball. He was like, but I don't disagree with him. He was like, last game, we just missed too many shots. And so he's kind of the engine. He scored 23 in that last game.
Right.
We talked about it over the weekend. He passed Karl-Anthony Towns for franchise leader in threes, which is kind of crazy. Karl-Anthony Towns had 9 years in Minnesota to do that and is in the middle of year 5, and he just did that.
Yeah.
And I think that record is going to be obliterated. But what do you think about Anthony Edwards' maturation this season?
I think we're seeing it a little bit. I wouldn't say he's grown in leaps and bounds in any way. I will say the last few weeks offensively, he's really picked up the pace. One thing I did think was funny is after Finchie said all of that, Ant said, at least we won and got cussed out.
Yeah.
So there it is. I will say, a lot of people said this Atlanta game, it was a win, but it felt a lot like a loss. So I think there's just a lot to figure out right now. You get to this point in the season, though, and you have to figure it out now, or chances are you're not going to figure it out for the rest of the year. So also trade deadline coming up.
Yeah, we'll
a lot of
see.
rumors.
Yeah, we'll see if the Wolves are active at all. A lot of people talking about Julius Randle in a lot of these scenarios. We'll see how that plays out. We'll also see how it plays out when they take on the Phoenix Suns. It was a buzzer beater by Ju Randle the last time that they played, so we'll see what happens there. But let's turn our attention to the Gophers, men and women's basketball team. We'll start with the men. Listen to what Ben Johnson had to say after their unexpected 3-game win streak in conference play.
When you see it every day, you know, and you can feel it. And I'm sure people thought I was crazy when I said that we were getting better, even though we weren't getting the results. And I'm sure, you know, people were calling me an idiot, but I knew it because I'm here every day. I see it every day. And I saw, you know, who we played. And we were playing top half of our league teams. For a new team, I don't care who you are, for any team, those are hard things to do. But I knew it was only making us better.
So look, they upset Michigan. That was big time. They upset Iowa. They upset Oregon.
Yep.
Couldn't keep it rolling on Tuesday night.
Hey, you can only ask for so much.
I know. Look, Sparty.
Against Izzo at home, the Spartans.
Yeah.
That's a tough road
That's
environment.
tough. We won't hold it against them. But look, this sports department, we are big fans of Ben Johnson and what he does. He's just a great guy, and we believe that he's a great coach. And look, he talked about just how tough it is trying to build a new team. I think you saw it with Coach Calipari down in Kentucky for all those years, basically having a new team every year and trying to figure out how to get this team to gel. He feels like the team is finally gelling. This loss on Tuesday night aside, and maybe we see a little bit of a turn as they try to make the tournament.
Yeah, I would say you just kind of have to give them a little slack when it comes to Michigan State. But the women also.
Yeah.
Women are playing lights out, but they have a tough lineup this week. They've got USC Thursday, number 4, UCLA number 1 on Sunday. So they've been playing some really great basketball. They've been great in the conference, but the conference isn't great.
Yeah.
In terms, I mean, you get out west, that's when the teams that really compete are there in the Big Ten. But they've beat Illinois, Penn State, Northwestern, Rutgers, Wisconsin twice, but none of those teams are ranked. Gopher women are ranked for the first time in, 5 or 6 years.
I mean, look, shout out to Coach Pelissa White and what she's doing over there in Dinkytown, because the big news this week, Sophie Hart got another year of eligibility that was announced yesterday. So she was excited to be coming back to be a Gopher next year. But they're doing all this year. We were expecting the Gophers to be a team that could contend for a tournament spot. They lost Mara Brown again, but they're winning in spite of. And so you think that when she comes back, they have a chance to try to make a run because they're playing well. I want to call attention really quick to Amaya Battle. The last game against Wisconsin, she has 6 points, but before that, 25, 18, 19, 21. That's a maturing project in a program, being a junior now with the Gophers, and she's taking a leap.
I know. Her consistency has definitely picked up this season. Just excited to see. Obviously, women's basketball has so much traction now, but just excited to see what Dawn Plitz-White's been able to do in the short time that she's been here.
Absolutely. All right, well, that's our first segment. Coming up, we're talking Wild and Twins, so don't go away. Stick around. All right, let's talk a little Minnesota Wild right now. Of course, the big news this week, Kirill Kaprizov out for at least a month with a lower body injury that will require surgery, not expected to be season-ending, according to Bill Guerin, the Wild GM. And so, look, this team has just continued to have to battle injury after injury this year. Jared Spurgeon said, look, this is something that every team has to deal with. It's just a matter of how they weather the storm, but it just seems like the storm is pretty bad right now.
I wouldn't say that every team has battled it the way that the Wild has this season. The Wild started so hot.
Yeah.
They were the best team in the NHL, playing the best hockey that we've seen them play in years. And then all of a sudden, 5 starters are out all at one time. Jonas Brodin is still out.
They just put him on long-term IR.
Yeah, this is his 11th game missed.
My goodness.
Already, and he's crucial. I mean, Kirill, that's so tough to see, but if you watched him in the last few games, he was not as explosive as we know him to be, right? So we were kind of guessing something was wrong, but everyone was hoping that maybe this was just something he was working through to get back, but now we hear this news, which is just devastating because he's the leading scorer on the whole team.
Yeah.
He's the most crucial player that they have on the roster. So you hate to see it, but hopefully he comes back in time for when things start to really count.
Yeah, hoping that they make a postseason run with him even being out. And to your point, talking about that, he missed 12 games, came back, only played 3 games, really wasn't like himself, not any goals that he scored during that time. And John Hines had a little bit of insight into Kirill the Thrill.
I think he's handled it the best that he's could. I mean, to his credit, he does everything that, the doctors ask. He's a workhorse. He does anything he can do to get himself ready to play, even though he's not feeling great. He's certainly done that. But I think more is just the disappointment of not being able to play. I think I overheard Billy earlier say that he's such a team guy, and I think it was really weighing on him that even though, you know, he told me, well, I'm only at 60%. I said, well, you're one of the best players on the ice at 60%. But to him, it's the standard of helping the team at the level he wants to help the team. And he knows by getting surgery, he can't do that. But also, I think, even if he didn't get the surgery and he continued to play, he has such a high standard for himself in order to try to help the team win that I think that's what bothers him the most.
All right, so Kirill's 60%, as Coach Hines said, a lot better than a lot of guys, 100%, but he'll still be missed out there because you want to have him at 100%. One of Kirill's, you know, biggest attributes is his speed out there on the ice, and if he's dealing with the lower body injury, that's going to affect his ability to really be out there making plays. And he had 52 points in 37 games. Like, goodness gracious, that's a lot of production to have to try to replace from him. So they'll just try to weather that storm.
Rely on the depth that they have. Tonight they've got Toronto, obviously. William Nylander has been such a menace for the Minnesota Wild this year. So good luck tonight with that. Obviously, that's in Toronto, so it'll be a tough opponent. We'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, let's do that hockey tonight. We'll see how it goes. All right, so let's switch gears, though. You had a chance to go to Twins Fest last week, Twins Media Luncheon. You got your fill of Twins before spring training came. How was that?
Oh, my gosh. Twins Fest is always so fun because the fans are out, and it's their one chance to really talk to the players that they don't get to talk to very often. So
I'm sure they have some things to say.
They do. It's always interesting. It's one of the best people watching opportunities that you get all year. But it's also very sweet. You also get to talk to the players. The main thing that really stuck out to me, for the first time in years, Byron Buxton is not rehabbing in the offseason. He is healthy as a horse right now. I did talk to him about that. He was in high spirits, excited for spring training, looking forward to flushing this past season away, getting ready for this year. But also one thing that I talked to him about is how do you balance the excitement that you have while also still trying to stay healthy, because he is so aggressive in everything that he does on the field. He said the one thing that keeps him, now that his children are older, they remember every single thing that he tells them. So if he says, I'm going to go do BP for 2 hours, they're watching that clock. And then they're like, okay, Dad, time to wrap it up. And he said that's what keeps him from overdoing it when he's getting ready or getting excited for a season like this.
Yeah, got to have Buck healthy. He's a key to them this season, especially because they didn't do a whole lot. And you talked to Rocco about that. Here's Rocco right here.
It took, I think, me and a lot of people here a little while to turn the page. You know, obviously, tough way to end the year, but we've gotten well past that now, and we've gotten back to work, and we're ready for spring training. We're going to have a similar roster to last year. It's not going to look that much different, and actually, I'm excited about that. Are there going to be changes? Of course there will be, but I think we have a team that's a quality team, and we'll be ready to play.
All right, so look. Nothing but optimism this time of year because there have been no games played yet, no crucial injuries that you're, you know, really thinking about. I think Brock Stewart is rehabbing an injury again. But you think about all the optimism to start a season, and maybe it's only internal. You know, I remember going down to spring training last year, and there was just so much optimism because after that playoff run, Carlos Correa said something that almost sounded like a challenge to the front office. Like, I trust the front office that they're going to put the players in place to make this team better. And they slashed payroll by $30 million. This year, they didn't slash payroll, but they didn't spend anything either. So I know a lot of Twins fans are really kind of frustrated by this, especially in the middle of this whole sale thing. We've heard rumors that it should be final before the start of the season, but that doesn't help efforts as far as like spending goes before the season starts. They've made some trades, but they haven't signed anyone of true, you know, big value. So how are we supposed to think about the Twins coming into this season when they really they're banking on the talent that they have developed and they have. Last year they were hit with the injury bug and they didn't really have the depth to keep winning. This year, are we supposed to believe that things are going to be different somehow?
I will say I talked to a lot of the veterans on the team about that. Griffin Jack said, hey, we're not the only ones to crash and burn. They do have faith in the young talent that they have. A lot of these guys had never played in the bigs before. That's hard. You're not going to really, I mean, it'd be a shock if they were to win with guys like that. But Griffin Jack said it's important that the young guys face that failure, face that adversity now so that they can build on it from there. So the only hope that I can give Twins fans, and this is what I asked them for you guys, what the hope could be, is they said just hopefully maturing our younger players and working them up through the system and hoping that works out right now. Derek Falvey also told me that they're going to move some pieces around. It's a never-ending conversation for him, but not to expect any giant changes.
Yeah, and one interesting thing is, Royce Lewis kind of got a chance to go through some of the topsy-turvy nature of a full season because he was, he dealt with some injuries, but he was able to finish the year. He was kind of slumping a little bit towards the end of the year, but that's good, I feel like, because it allows him to kind of work out some of the kinks. Because you get him in such a small sample size and you're just like, oh yeah, over the full 162, like, oh man, he can mash. And you're like, yes, he can, but he kind of has to figure it out, go on some of these road trips, face a lot of these pitchers, find his groove, and I think the experience last year will help him, and you just hope guys like him, Buck, Correa can avoid the big injuries this year that really kind of failed them last year and help them kind of get to where they want to go, because this division is winnable. Like nobody else really made any big swings either, but the Guardians are always just so consistent. And, the White Sox, I don't know what to think about them. The Royals made a surge last year. That was kind of scary. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this division plays out and if they can keep up.
Yeah. There'll be infield competition, too, at spring training. So
that's
always a good thing.
All right. I love it. I love it. Spring training is right around the corner. We are excited about baseball season, even right here at the end of January.
I know.
All right. So we're at the end of January, headed into February, so you know what that means. The Super Bowl is on the way, and Julia has some opinions about this matchup. I got a few opinions as well, and we'll express that coming up after this. All right, before we go, we gotta talk about this Super Bowl matchup. I know. The Chiefs, the Chiefs looked as vulnerable as they've looked all season.
And yet they
lost to the Bills earlier in the year. You're like, oh man, it might be something there, but then
the Bills need to lose to the Chiefs during the regular season so that they can be a little more
have
motivated.
A little bit more of a chip there. Yeah, well, it happened again. And then the Commanders literally fumbled away all of their opportunities. They were in that game. Despite Saquon going off, they were still in reach of the Eagles, and they just could not hold on to the football. I think indicative of a team who hasn't been there before and is trying to learn how to win still. So, shout out to Commanders. I called Commanders Chiefs Super Bowl, but actually, I guess I shouldn't have bet against the Eagles because it's going to be a rematch of the Super Bowl 2 years ago where we saw Jalen Hurts really come and bring it, and he looked like the best quarterback in that game, and it was just tough that he had to lose that one. He got a bag after that.
He did.
He did get paid for that performance, and maybe we haven't seen that level of player since then. But he joked after the win on Sunday that, Nick Sirianni finally let him out of his straitjacket a little bit. 200-plus yards, a couple touchdowns on the ground, some passing touchdowns as well. He was unleashed, if you will. So what are you looking forward to? Really, really early prediction for the Super Bowl game, but what are you looking forward to out of this game next Sunday?
I told you earlier today that as an Alabama grad, I don't really have a right to complain about a team that's constantly winning championships over and over again. Because that would be hypocritical of me. That being said, I'm not a fan of the Chiefs, so it is irritating to see them win. It would be cool to see a three-peat. That's never happened before, obviously, but also Saquon Barkley. Oh my gosh, he's always been an incredibly talented player, but he's never been on a team that could get him this far. And so I think it would be so cool to see him win a Super Bowl. I'm obviously a Jalen Hurts fan as well. Like I said, I went to Alabama. I was there while he was there. And I like him. I do agree with you, though. He's not playing the caliber of football that he was playing that year that they were in the Super Bowl.
Goodness.
But I will say, it's not really been necessary.
It's not required of them.
It's not
No.
required. Also the team is quads and quads and quads and quads.
Yeah.
So I think it'll be like brute strength if the Eagles end up winning this Super Bowl. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes, been there, done that. He knows what he's doing. Postseason pad is something that you always have to look out for, along with all the other weapons that they have on their team too. So my prediction, I'm just gonna. Born and raised a Cowboys fan, but I would have to say I think it'd be really cool to see the Eagles win this one. I know.
Oh my God.
Don't tell my dad.
Okay, I won't. Maybe he won't be watching this. But so here's the thing. Last year's Eagles team, they had DeAndre Swift as running back.
Right.
And you're like, man, you can't really get too much better than that. Jason Kelce retires.
Unless you get Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, Jason Kelce retires. You're like, dang, the line might take a step back.
Right.
That line plus Saquon has been like the dynamic duo that we never knew would happen because he rushed for over 2,000 yards. You know, just when it looks like you have him in your grasp, you don't. That spin move on Sunday was ridiculous.
Right.
And so I think it's going to be a really good chess match between this Eagles offense, Kellen Moore, your old Cowboys offensive coordinator, who's the offensive coordinator with the Eagles, might be the Saints head coach from what we're hearing too, soon to come, against Steve Spagnuolo, who has orchestrated a championship defense for so long.
I know.
And you look at the blitz timing. It's like Brian Flores almost. Like he dials up that blitz at the very right time, rush Josh Allen into throwing that lollipop, and Dalton Kincaid can't hold on to it, and that's how that game pretty much ends. So look, I said this on the pod this morning. I'm a fan of history. I would love to see a three-peat.
Right.
Because it's a mid-market team. You kind of think of it like Minnesota. Like if Minnesota were to go to the Super Bowl and win multiple championships, first off, people here would love that.
Of course.
They would love that. But if that were to happen to a mid-market team, like it doesn't happen often. We're used to seeing like the Yankees and the Dodgers of the world, and you know all these like teams that are the Lakers. You know, like these are the teams that people really look to. The Cowboys, you know, in these top markets. But a mid-market team being able to do a three-peat
KC
with all the talent that's in the NFL right now, like I would love to see it. So we still got a week though before that happens. But this time has flown by, Juju.
I know.
It's already time to go. We hope you enjoyed watching us today, and we'll be back next week for another edition of KARE 11 Sports Plus. Have a great week.